Alright, so this is part 2 in my Project Zomboid intro videos, and this is on combat and moodles. As I said earlier, moodles are kind of like a status effect in the game. There's a lot of them actually. There's 21 different types. One of them is just zombie. If you become a zombie, you have the zombie moodle. So it doesn't really count for the actual game because it's effectively the end of your character. And if you watch your characters, if you keep looking at your character after they've died for long enough, they do hop up and start hooning around as a zombie. And actually, if you choose to respawn in the same world, so when your character dies, you can actually respawn in the same world as a different character, roughly on the same date as your other character's death, so you can always pick up at a established base or whatever if you want to. I don't tend to do that, but you can actually come across your old character roaming the world as a zombie, which is pretty cool. So the combat in the game is not super complicated, I suppose, or not super nuanced, but it's pretty important, and it has quite a high skill ceiling, I would say, as well. Although I've only, as I said, I've only clocked up about 100 hours, so that's my take on it so far. And I really like how the combat difficulty is because of the game mechanics, and that's it. It's not because of other elements like level-based damage reduction, because your 10 levels too low, so you're going to do less damage or whatever, or over reliance on leveling systems. It's just purely, it is what it is, and the better you get at it, or the better the weapons you've got, or there is some leveling in the game that you've got weapon skills for particular weapon classes, and as you get better in those weapon classes, you'll do more damage. Righto, so just a couple of things that occurred to me I should mention at the beginning of this video after having watched it, I should mention guns briefly. I should also point out that the combat which happens in this video isn't that like what you're doing a lot of the time, so this combat ends up being quite a large group of zombies. Typically in the game you're often trying to kill small groups of zombies or just one or two quickly so you can go about your business, and you're trying to avoid large fights like this, but this fight is a really good way of showing you how combat works, so it's more exciting. So the actual combat you're going to see here is quite a large group of zombies. One point that I start to make in this video but I don't finish off making because I get attacked is a really cool thing I like about combat and loot is if a zombie rocks up to you and they've got like a sword through their torso or whatever, that weapon actually drops when the zombie dies. Or if a zombie turns up and it's got a whole lot of good gear on them and they're wearing a real massive backpack, if you kill that zombie, you can get that gear. So quite often you have an incentive to try and sort of focus on specific zombies, which I really like how they've done that. I hate it in games when it's like, look at that, your character's got awesome gear, they look really amazing, then they die and they drop like a can of spaghetti or whatever. It's like, no. So this game's great in that regard. And then finally, just the point about guns in the game. I think I said earlier in episode 1 that guns were a liability, and I haven't actually really used guns much. As you would expect in a zombie simulation, every time you fire a gun, it draws hordes of zombies. So the main reason guns aren't useful to start with is that you're not very good at aiming them because your gun skill's quite low. So in this game, you level up, or you improve your skills by doing something. So the more that you shoot, you'll eventually you'll skill up with weapons. So a lot of people don't use firearms at all. You can use them a bit if you're in an area you can run away easily enough, or back away and get out of your fight. Then get your skills up and run away before you get in trouble. There is actually a mod I've got in this game that means there's a nail gun in the game which you can use as a weapon, and it's relatively noiseless. It draws zombies a little bit, but nowhere much as a conventional firearm, so you can use that to level up your shooting skills quite well. And there's a lot of nails in the game, so you can also find nails for it reasonably easily. But yeah, I've also got a mod which has silencers in the game, but I've never seen one. They're relatively rare, so obviously that'd be another way of using firearms. So anyway, back to the rest of the video. But if you're wondering about firearms, this video is not on firearms because I don't really know how to use them, and they're very difficult to use. So this is melee combat. I think we're going to play with my same character again. What's his name? Lorenzo? His last name was Lorenzo. Look, you have so many characters in this game, I can't even remember their names. I die too quickly. Anyway, yeah, so you do more damage. You swing. I think you might swing faster as you get more skills in a particular weapon type as well. So I've actually spawned in the same area, so those zombies are still probably chasing me. As you can see, the way that the perception works in this game, you can see in front of you but not behind you, obviously. But my particular character actually has a nice trait called keen hearing. I can't find it on the list. Anyway, there it is, keen hearing, and that means that I think when if a zombie's coming up behind me, I can sense them earlier than I would be able to without that trait. So traits can make quite a big difference to the way your combat works. And combat, roughly speaking, consists of backing away. I'll get some zombies and show you. I've got a really bad feeling I'm going to lose this character. Probably in this episode, Mike Lorenzo. I'm going to lose you, I think, Mike. I feel very sad about it. Hey, look, the doors are usually locked, actually, for the most part. I'd really like to find something better than a flippin' frying pan if I'm actually going to get into a fight, because this is going to be the reason I'm readying myself whenever I open doors is because there's often zombies in rooms. So I think there's one behind that door. You see the door moving. So open the door. Whoop! There's the jump scare noise. The game makes quite good use of the jump scares. Push you over and then frying pan you in the head until you're dead. Zombie. Yes, I may have to do this with the frying pan. This will be sad. Maybe I will do it with the nightstick, because I think that nightstick's actually a pretty reasonable weapon. I think that's part of a mod, actually, the nightstick. So yeah, the combat is an interesting one. It kind of consists of managing your moodles. So there's a moodle there which is peckish. The first level of a moodle doesn't really mean anything most of the time. Some status effects do mean something. I think I'm just going to call them status effects because I hate the word moodle. Somewhat how I don't like the word emoticon or emoji. I think I like emoji even less than I like the word emoticon. But anyway, I'm just going to call them status effects because that's the generic term. So your status effects affect your combat quite a lot. Well, some of them do. Some do and some don't. But oh look, I don't even need to collect garbage bags. I'm not playing a proper game. I'm just so used to it, collecting specific things. So anyway, so like for instance, endurance, pain, I wrote these down. Endurance, pain, panic, stress, and tired. Those status effects or moodles all affect your damage. So the more stressed you are, which is sometimes a result of having massive groups of zombies chasing you, the less damage you'll do. And if you are stressed in pain because you're taking a hit and panicking, and your character ends up panicking based on the number of zombies chasing you, you'll do a lot less damage. So, if you're doing really well and don't have any negative status effects, you can actually kill pretty well, but you almost get to the point where you're doing almost no damage if you've got too many status effects, too many negative moodles going on. Hey, that was handy. This is going to be funny because that building is alarmed. As you can hear, so I'm soon going to have a lot of zombies here. So we'll have a look at what so this pulls a lot. Okay, so there's another status effect, anxious. I'm now anxious, possibly because I'm a smoker, but it may just be because the alarm's gone off. I don't know. There's a lot of different things which cause moodles to crop up. The other thing too is stuff like endurance and heavy load, which is how much you're carrying. Being hypothermic or hyperthermic, so cold or hot, and being in pain, they affect your swing speed as well, or your attack speed. So if you don't keep a close eye on your moodles or on your status effects, boy, you can really get in trouble because you can actually fight a lot of zombies. If you've got then I'll only bring one zombie. Okay, so the basic idea is you back off and you sort of swap between either hitting a zombie or pushing it, and when they get too close it'll go for a push like that. Oh, here we go, here's a few more. And you could see actually when that zombie turned up, that was because my nightstick took damage there. So there is weapon durability in the game, which is a bit of a pain. You'll see when that zombie turned up, because they were sort of outside of the field of my vision, I couldn't actually see them all that well, and you can see when I turn around and look in different directions what's happening here. So depending on your weapon, all the different weapons work quite differently. So single-handed weapons, blunt weapons like this has a pretty good chance of knockback, but they don't do as much damage as bladed weapons, all those sort of nuances you'd expect. And you can sort of see how I'm backing off and controlling. Well, this horde, now I'm going to turn around and run because there happens to be a zombie behind me. So my keen hearing came in advantage there. And you'll see on the right, I've got quite a few moodles, status effects happening now, which are getting me in a bit of trouble. I also believe that on Apocalypse difficulty there's no multi-hit, so you can only hit one zombie at a time, but you'll see as I'm swinging this nightstick I'm hitting more than one. That's because I'm not on the highest difficulty level. So you can imagine how hard this would be if I was only hitting one zombie at a time. But if you have a look at my moodles now, I'm anxious and I'm extreme panic and I'm peckish. And so out of all of those, the extreme panic will be impacting my damage quite significantly. And then eventually what will happen too is I actually get to, oh there we go, I copped a bite, okay that's bad. So, oh, and I fell over. Okay, yeah, so you got a chance of falling over. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to... Oh, I'm bitten! Oh, no! Oh, dear. Okay, so that's the death of my character. I should actually speed up time in a bit. I bandaged myself, so I'm not bleeding anymore. If I can get out of this fight, I might speed up time and show you what zombification looks like, because this character's 100% going to die now, because he has the zombie virus. So whenever you get bitten, if it ever says bitten on your status screen, that means, if I'll show you that again, I'll remove the bandage, you know that see it says bitten there. Oh, and it's infected. That might be a normal infection actually, because I don't think the zombie virus doesn't list as anything. You just know, because eventually you'll get sick and your health will start going down and you just can't stop it. It just keeps going down until you're dead. So yeah, so now I've got the minor pain moodle as well. So if I had a bit more pain, that would affect my swing speed and my damage. Try and get in this fan here. I don't know, it'd be cool if I had a car key. No car key. A gunsmith's general, some lipstick, a battery. Let's get out of there, that's not going to help us. Yeah, so that's kind of how combat works really, and if this was a longer lasting character, I'd be probably somewhat bummed out because I just copped a bite there, I'm going to die. And obviously that group of zombies is much too large to be really fighting at all, which is a terrible idea. But to give you some idea of how the combat works. So it's often about trying to manage, get the zombies keep all the zombies in front of you, and try and manage your endurance as well, because after a while you get pretty tired and then you can't move as fast. And I think there may be a limit to how many zombies you can push like that. So if there's two, oh, there we go, I got bit again. Oh god, oh no, there we go. Okay, I'm in real trouble now. What do we got? Okay, I got bitten again, and I'm gonna do my neck first because, oh, apparently I can't bandage my neck. Oh yeah, okay, because neck wounds bleed really quickly. Groin. One of them bit me in the groin. That's not cool. Okay, and as you can see, I'm very close to death. But we're actually going to... Okay, yeah, so here we go. I'm in severe pain, critical injuries, anxious, and strong panic. So even if it wasn't for the zombie virus, I'd probably die. So what we might do... I could just die in combat actually, because it takes a couple of days to die from the actual virus, if you've just got the virus, but I might not even manage to heal myself. Oh, sorry, I might just die from damage anyway, possibly at this point. If I can keep my my health went up a little bit there. So if you can keep your bandages on you, you're usually okay if you haven't got like the zombie virus. But so anyway, I might call it there for poor old Mike Lorenzo and show you what happens. If we watch him for long enough, he should get up off the ground and walk around like a zombie because he's got the virus. So if I run through enough, I'll see how many of them I can push out of my way before I run out of push strength. Because eventually they'll succeed in grabbing me. So you can kind of push yourself through some, like one or two zombies. I think I might have said this in the last video, but I don't know what they're falling over. Your tripping chance. You got a tripping chance. Yeah, there you go. So I fell over then. Oh, I dropped my nightstick and I got a sore leg. Your tripping chance depends on your moodles and a whole bunch of different things. Tiredness, whether you got a wounded leg. So here we go. So this is it. There we go. Poor Mike Lorenzo. And that is how most of my games end. because I get reckless, or I'm trying to loot the garage when I should have stayed out of there. Should always err on the side of safety, unless you're about to run out of resources, or unless you come across a zombie who's carrying an awesome piece of loot. So all zombies have the actual loot that... Oh, look, there he is. Mike Lorenzo the zombie. Hey? So if I went to new character here, instead of quit to menu and deleting this game, I can respawn in the same world, and I could come across the zombie Mike and get his frying pan and I dropped the nightstick, not his nightstick, his cloth bag. Yes, that's it. That's kind of how combat works and how it usually ends. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's good. Managing risk and rewards pretty important, and also like keeping them in front of you. Sometimes you'll be doing really well and you'll just miss time a push a little bit, and suddenly a zombie will grab you and you'll just be unlucky, and Scratches have a 7. If you get a scratch from a zombies can attack you with their either hand, left and right arm, or a bite. And if they scratch you, you've got a 7% chance of getting the zombie virus. If they do a laceration, which is a deeper wound, you've got I think a 25% chance. And if they bite you, 100% chance of zombification. So that's the formula. Anyway, hopefully that gives you some idea of what the combat looks like. One of the things I'll just finally say is I really like how they approach the combat. I don't think they asked the question, how are we going to make a good combat system? I think they asked the question, what would combat be like in a zombie apocalypse? You know, when you're trying to fend off, hordes of zombies, how would you do that? And I feel like they've simulated that pretty well. So, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you in the third video, which will be on longer term survival and base building. Later. There he is, Mike, off to look for a person to eat. Good luck, Mike, zombie Mike.